What do you say, everybody? Welcome to Elephant in the Room, part of Disrupt the Media. And we are so happy to have you here on the Roll Tide Pods channel on YouTube. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Comment. Love the comments. Been great hearing from you guys, and hopefully we'll be able to entertain you here again today. Hey, before we talk football and Alabama athletics, let me remind you that our show is presented by mybookie.ag. Use the promo code NEXTROUND to get 110% price match on your initial wager. And after a tough start, I'm rolling. You've had a great year. That's Jake Coker. I'm Mick Gillispie. So not a bad time to go in there and test the odds at MyBookie. And they do it all, whether it's college football with one game left, college basketball, and we're going to start talking some Alabama hoops with the Crimson Tide going to SEC play, whether it's the NBA, whether it's the NHL, European soccer. They got it all. Find out for yourself, mybookie.ag. All right, he's Jake Coker, as I mentioned, and I'm Mick Gillispie. Feeling better. I mean, we've had a tough week with the loss to Michigan, but I can tell by the look on your face that you're starting to recover.
Yeah, I'm getting over it. You know, it's like a hangover these days. About 3 days, and I'm good. So we're getting there.
The show's going to have Ryan Anderson on really soon. We thought we were going to have him today, but a late audible.
Yep, screwed us over. It's like an Alabama practice in 2015. Just can't give me a break.
What's really cool is he's a contractor now. It's like he's so serious about it. And he should, man. It's like a real job, unlike us.
Oh yeah. That's right.
It's like, I'm working with these engineers and stuff. It's like, we got a beer over here waiting on you. But you talked to him for a second on the phone, and I mean, we're all kind of feeling the same way.
Oh yeah, he's heartbroken too.
Yeah.
Just the worst part about it is now. I mean, usually as an Alabama fan, your season's not over till like January 10th.
I know.
And now next Monday night, we're just going to be sitting there watching. Unless you got a little money on the game, there's no reason to even be too excited about it as an Alabama fan. You're just watching, what could have been.
I know, and I do. So I'm gonna be watching.
A little money on the game too.
The sting of all of the loss. The only thing that kind of made it better was that I'm kind of a Michigan win now, even though I didn't have Michigan in the bowl pick'em thing. You get to repick that championship game.
Yeah,
be a good day for me. So at least it gives me some interest.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this? I've always felt like when I played sports, and I didn't play at the level you did, and then watching sports and covering sports, the team that I lose to, if I'm there, I'm always like, as much as it hurts, I'd rather them win a championship. And that just goes all the way back. I've talked about this with my buddy Jerry Kingery, who played baseball at Bama, and he talks about having the hump of LSU, and they finally knock LSU out, I think, of like a super regional, and the LSU guys were like, you guys got to go win it now.
Yeah.
And that was back in the Jim Wells days,
Yeah. I think baseball. It depends. I mean, I always felt like after we lost, I mean, when I was Alabama, we only lost twice, and I say 3 times. After we lost Ohio State, I didn't really care who won after that.
You didn't want them to win.
After we lost to Ole Miss, I wanted them to lose every game.
Yeah, me too. But that would have helped us. See, that's different, though. Like, I don't mean like regular season. I'm talking about playoffs.
Even
and stuff.
set aside the fact that we needed them to lose. I just couldn't stand Ole Miss.
Yeah,
their fans after they beat us at Ole Miss, and then
how was that? You were there, right? We lost there, and then we lost at home.
The field,
was it hard to get off the field?
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Some of our guys had to push them out of the way and, try to make our way to the tunnel. And, Ole Miss especially at that time, had not a whole lot of big wins, so they took every advantage of they could in terms of enjoying that moment.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it is, when the thing about it, and I say that's the way it is when you're the best, because it means something to beat you.
It's like we talked the other day. Once you beat Alabama, you've validated everything you worked for.
I know.
When you get to beat the standard,
Yeah, I mean, it takes a great game to do it.
And it says it all when you rush the field. I mean,
right.
When your fan base rushes the field, that's ultimately a sign of respect, for what they've accomplished. So,
yeah.
But, again, Ole Miss is personally, they're right up there with Tennessee and Auburn for me.
Yeah, well, and they're stacking up right now. Your buddy Lane Kiffin's like killing it in the transfer portal.
Yep, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Do we play him next year? I know we did
No, we don't play him. That's what I think. I don't think we'll play him for another 3 years or something.
How weird is that? Yeah, we even did I got a compliment today on my channel from somebody that watched the show with you and Ryan, and they're like, "Oh, tell Jake and Ryan I said hi," like of today, and that's because now I think we're looking ahead now. We did you guys jumped on with me. We did the schedule release. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody keep that nightgown on.
We got flagged. we got flagged from YouTube. Oops. That was one of those shows where we did this one and we did that one, and the next day I was laughing so hard about some of the stuff that we talked about.
When you have an old teammate on, it's like, there's no telling what's going to be said.
Yeah.
There's just too many memories there,
The couple funny things.
We'll have to get Denzel DeVall on here one time.
Oh, yeah, man. Bring him on, dude. The couch great. Is yours to invite people.
We'll have to get him over here.
We just, you guys can't see the couch, but just redecorated the wall a little bit. Put my old Alabama license plates up. So you got to wait until Rhino's here to be able to look at that.
Oh yeah, it's looking good in here.
Thank you. It's been fun, dude. Like the season obviously was really exciting, and even when you look back with the loss, it's been a blast just kind of covering it every day. Us kind of getting coming together.
A fun way to do it.
Yeah.
Again, I've never followed it like this before. Never had the responsibility of speaking on Alabama football before in a somewhat media type way.
Responsibly.
Well, usually it's on like Finebaum or something, you got to throw your take in there. And it's got to be politically correct. And
usually for you, but you did a great job on Finebaum. I got a feeling that you turned down a lot of this stuff before you started doing this. I don't know why. I just think that
last Friday, let's see, Katie Hennessy. She's one of the talent producer over there, and apparently she was messaging me on Instagram and Twitter, and I just never saw it. I'm just not on the social media circuit very much, so she reached out to my wife, and Sarah was like, she texted me a screenshot of what she sent, and she was like, "What are you doing? Like, you got to do this." And we were up there for New Year's, and it was Friday, and I was planning on deer hunting that afternoon. And she was like, "Can you do 4:30?" And I was like, I'm going to be deer hunting then. And I told Sarah, I was like, I don't think I'm going to do it. And she goes, she's like, what is wrong with you? Like, you have to do this. And I was like, all right, I'll do it.
Jump in and do it.
But then they moved it. I think it was 3:00.
It was 3. Yeah.
Good.
I listened. I was waiting for you to, shout us out, man.
Well, they kind of rushed me off.
I'm like, is it coming? Is it coming?
I got.
Think about all the new viewers we would have had. You killed it in that interview, and then you go, hey, Paul.
Well, the thing is, the producer of that show's like, Paul knows about the elephant in the room. He's, we'll get to that.
Is he a big fan?
And so I like that. I think the humor of this show goes right over that bald head.
The answer's no. It's not.
Well, he didn't want to promote it, so
no. He didn't bother to ask you what you were doing these days.
I was expecting him to ease me into that, an easy promo, which is usually what happens. Usually, like you go on Clay's show or somebody else show, they're like, "So what's going on nowadays?" And you have a chance to say everying. And
when you go on Lee Stravanian show,
yeah, as soon as I made the joke about him,
been on that one, right?
Yeah. As soon as I made the joke about him shitting on our dynasty, he was done with it.
You sent things in the wrong direction fast.
I mean, right off the bat, man.
You're probably like, oh shit. Happy birthday to Derrick Henry yesterday, man. 30 years old.
Yep, 30 years old. About a year and a half younger than me, and carried me too.
Yeah, I think we carried everybody. I'm thinking that he's an NFL Hall of Famer.
I mean, I don't know how he's not. It's that's one of those crazy overthinking draft picks more than anyone I've ever seen. Derrick Henry going in the second round. I think it was late second round, and because they were afraid of I think it was his agility in the backfield, and the guy's bigger, faster, stronger than everybody that's trying to tackle him outside of guys that are 100 or 50 pounds less than him.
Yeah.
I mean, the Titans got a steal.
Yeah, they did. I forgot. I mean, I don't cover the NFL like I do college, And,
the draft is these people that it's insane to me how the draft process works and how they take guys and pay them all this money, and 50% of them, are replaced by undrafted free agents.
Yeah, how about that? Well, it's because scouting, and I know baseball scouting. I don't know football scouting, but I know baseball scouting. Yeah. It really is an unexact science, and the reason why is that you just can't tell what someone's going to do. First off, a top executive with a baseball team told me one time that money doesn't come with instructions. And he was talking about the fact that this team had paid this pitcher, a lot of money. Yeah. And then the guy just was like doing crazy shit all the time. And they're like, and once you give the contract, it's really tough to go back and get them to do the things that they need to do.
Oh, yeah.
Or what got them there in the first place, right?
Yeah. Or admit that you're wrong.
Well, you admit you're wrong and you're fired.
Yeah.
In that world, and so, yeah, I mean, that's a part of it. The other part of it is health, man. I mean, this. Guys get injured playing sports, and you come back, and if the surgery doesn't take it, or maybe you're just you don't have the same ability anymore after that.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that. No, that's irrefutable. But there's so many guys that get taken that you've never seen do much,
right?
And it's all measurables and intangible things, and sometimes you just got to pick a winner,
Yeah.
And then again,
who's available too?
Yeah,
you may have a need at a certain position, and by the time it gets there, you're like, man, we have to take the best safety right now.
Yeah, and then you see so many times a franchise. Sometimes the franchise sucks. I mean, they don't have the people around to help develop guys and make them play to the best of their ability.
Yeah, and
I brought it up before that. I mean, Tua is prime example, one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen in college, and one of the best NFL quarterbacks now. Had Mike McDaniel not gone to the Dolphins, who knows what happens? I mean,
yeah, I love him. He's one of my favorite coaches.
The hard in-season hard knocks with him is one of the best.
I have to watch it.
He's so good. He is so good. Any leader that's accountable like that is. You don't even have to be that great, but when you got guys that believe in you and play hard for you the way they play for him because he's just an accountable guy.
Yeah.
Makes a bad call is on me.
Yeah, right. But I think that's refreshing.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that changed a lot, And we're going to talk about the guys that are leaving Alabama for the NFL draft. So don't let me forget that. But one of the things that has changed a lot with the way that people are programmed now compared to where they used to be programmed is that you really have to tell young people, if you're the leader, why you do things. And the reason why it's changed, in my opinion, is there used to be a draft. So we would have had to go into the military, right? Yeah. Up until when, like the 70s or something?
Oh, yeah.
And so none of us did. We didn't do that. You know this because your brothers are in there, right?
Yeah. What's crazy, my grandfather, Jules Meunier, he got drafted by the Celtics and the Yankees and then got drafted and he couldn't play.
Your grandfather's name is... Say that again?
Jules Meunier.
That is an awesome name. That is the best name I've ever heard.
He was about 6'5". He's all the older guys know him around here, just from him being so good at basketball and baseball.
Yeah. I just love the name.
Oh yeah. But
it's a broadcaster name.
Oh yeah. It's he's from...
Is that Cajun?
French.
It is French.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a guy named
Will.
Got
a lot of New Orleans history.
Yeah. There's a guy named Will Venables, and he was coaching for the Cubs, and I became friends with him because I was like, I love your name. I just love saying
Venables is
Will Venables. That's a cool name. Meunier.
Yeah, but he got...
How do you spell that? I couldn't spell it.
Mughnier.
Okay, so yeah, see, I would have never gotten
my
that.
mom's dad, obviously.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
But he was a beast. We got handwritten letters from Red Auerbach that he sent, and
nice.
Pretty wild. Just you think about historical figures, and you see some of those letters. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Where are they now?
My mom's got them somewhere.
You gotta frame those and put them up. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
On a whole side topic, because last show we talked about the rings that were taken to Pawn Stars, and then I'm watching Pawn Stars, and the episode comes on.
I meant to text you back about that last night,
dude. I couldn't believe that it came on. I didn't put it on or search for it or anything. But it's season 20.
Whose rings were they?
They were running back on the 2020 team, backup Robinson, not Khalil, but
it couldn't have been Brian Robinson.
No, it was the other one. I'll look it up. But it was somebody that didn't play a lot, and the rings were worth $40,000. And the guy's like, "Hey," which we know this. Like they're like,
if you actually melted them down, or
it's not
like
even
$500.
Yeah, it's $500 because that was the rule. But I was just like asking Stephanie. I was like, I wonder if what a Cubs ring would be worth with somebody that no one's ever heard of before.
Yeah.
Like because I know your rings would. If that guy got 40, it wasn't the player though. Whoever had the rings got $40,000 for $1,500 worth of rings. But it's not the value of the ring isn't the value of what it costs to make the ring. It's the value of the ring.
Sentimental value.
It's not sentimental value. It's value. You know what I mean? Like it's even above that. It's the value of what your team did, the accomplishment, the rarity of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the materials aren't what's valuable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm still shocked that that's the case.
Well, was that what you were talking about? If
my ring was $40,000, I'd be like, what the hell? I mean,
you had those things hanging out at work.
I did.
Just thinking, I was like,
well, that's when I saw that. I think I mentioned this, but when I saw that, I saw the Pawn Stars episode or heard about it and saw it in an article. I was like, I got to get these out of here.
I'm looking it up, and I sent you a picture so I can just look. Yeah, I didn't. I couldn't believe it. They're beautiful rings too, by the way.
Come in an awesome case too.
Oh yeah, man. I didn't take a picture. But yeah, I was not expecting that. I'll say this too, man. The one thing that I'm kind of.
But there's something I don't think if Washington wins it this year, I don't think that's as valuable as the Alabama brand. And
yeah.
I don't know if they'd be
Keelan Robinson.
Okay. I don't know if in 10 years when Coach Saban's gone, if those rings will be worth that. Do you think? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, they're championship rings. So, I mean, like, I think there's always a value there. Well, think about this. We have rings. So when you have one, it's like, it's different than when you don't have one. You know what I'm saying by that? Like but I'm thinking about what it was like before I had one. Like, I'm going to get one of these. You know what I'm saying? And then I don't know.
Well, it'd be pretty awesome to have. I mean, when you think about it, like Derrick Henry's ring, if you were a huge Alabama fan.
Yeah, but dude, yours too, man. I mean, like,
well, Derrick's would be a whole different ballgame.
You think so?
Oh God.
Let's get him.
The Heisman Trophy winner,
NFL Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't need those rings anymore.
No, he doesn't.
We buy them from him, and
he needs to help his quarterback out.
I honestly couldn't believe it. I just was like sitting there watching that, and I talked.
You think he'd have scored those touchdowns if I hadn't handed them off so nicely?
Yeah. I had talked to a friend of mine who has a friend that had bought some of these rings off of other players over the years. And and has like a display case and all this stuff. And I was like, man, that's crazy, you know? And then you go to the mall and you see like T-Town Tom and he's got the rings in there and stuff. And I'm like, man, wonder what those things are worth. Like and then you said that, but I didn't know you were talking about an Alabama player. I thought it was just somebody off of a college football team that went in and sold their rings.
You didn't even know what I was talking about?
No.
I thought you knew that I thought that was kind of a well-known story at this point for Alabama fans.
Well, not to me. I mean, I guess I just didn't know. And then we had talked about it. And then, and then I'm just sitting in there watching TV, doing some work on my computer. And all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, look at this. It's got like all the Alabama rings. And
so this was just complete. You didn't YouTube it. It was completely random.
I swear you left the house. I sat on the couch watching the show because that's what brought the whole thing up is that we had it on here. And then it came on. And then I took a picture and sent it to you because I was just like, we got to replay this. I didn't know what season the show came on. I wasn't really thinking about, like, I wasn't really in that mode at that point. You know? It was like an hour after you left. I know. Isn't that crazy though, how that kind of stuff happens sometimes? And then,
Jesus.
And then but the weird thing is that the other friend of mine just sent me pictures of him wearing these rings that his friend had, like a couple days ago. So I sent him the same thing. And I was like the same pictures I sent you, which I was like, man, that is crazy. And then when I was trying to figure out how much your rings were, because the joke was that I was saying that we should take them up there and sell them. And then I'm like, well, what? Like, think about what the haul that you could get. You got the Florida State rings and the Alabama rings. But really what the trick would be, and I mean, just between us.
You'd have to sell them together.
Yeah, but just between us, this is the trick. We say that we lost them, get the replacements, then sell. And I'll even pay the $1,500. Don't tell anybody though. No, I'm just obviously I'm kidding. But the value, the value of these. It really, honestly, I feel bad for the players that were in a financial spot where they had to sell those rings.
Oh, yeah.
Because
but at some point, you'd like to buy them back.
Yeah, and
you'd think.
Yeah, right. And they're never going to have the opportunity to do that. Now, if I was athletics director, I would probably approve them to get another one eventually.
Yeah.
Because I mean, before NIL, it really was unfair.
Well, if somebody took mine, I would hope that I could.
It's a process, though.
Call the school and hopefully have that done.
You got to get. I know a guy who played in 09.
I did lose one ring.
Did you?
Not a national. We won the Champ Sports Bowl my freshman year, and in the process of moving from apartment to other apartment and all that, I lost my Champ Sports Bowl ring. So I have no idea where that is.
If you want another one, I think I might know the person to talk to. I'm being serious. Yeah. You said there's a person that you ask that works there, the athletic director, and then they can basically say, hey, yeah, he can buy another one or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, if you have to pay for it or they pay for it or what, but you want to have all of them. It's not like you sold your Champ Sports ring,
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I have no idea where.
Was it a cool ring?
I don't even remember what it looks like.
Yeah, it's been that long, huh?
I mean, again, it was when you're playing at Florida State and you'd expect to be in bigger bowls. Of course, I wasn't the starter or anything. That was my redshirt freshman year, but it was disappointing for everybody on the team, I think, to be in the Champ Sports Bowl. Now it was a pretty badass bowl. We played Notre Dame, in the Citrus Bowl, and it was sold out. Anytime you get to play,
you didn't opt out.
Yeah.
Can you think about that? Like, think about that. This is one of the things that bothers me about college football is that you guys went in there and were like, this wasn't what we wanted to do, but you showed up and you freaking played the game.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
You took a lot of pride in that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You wore the uniform.
Beating Notre Dame.
Right.
Still a cool.
They didn't opt out. You didn't opt out.
Yeah.
It mattered to you.
Yeah, no opt-outs. EJ Manuel played on a broken freaking leg.
Love that, man.
I think he had a broken tibia.
And still played.
In that game. Broke it during the game and kept playing.
Wow.
And I don't think anybody knows that.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's ever said that, but
yeah.
Insane what he was doing.
Yeah. But it should have never changed from that. That's the problem with where college football is right now. Is that Florida State this year goes to the Orange Bowl, which is a killer bowl. It's one of the best bowls ever.
Oh yeah.
Like
it's top 5. It's a BCS bowl.
Yeah, even in the history of the game, man.
Orange.
Go back and look at it. It's like Alabama against Nebraska, and Notre Dame against whoever. Florida State played some huge games there with Bobby Bowden, right? And for those guys to opt out, the level of disrespect for the game itself is what bothers me the most about the direction that things are going.
Well, it's nowadays that's the new fad is erasing history wherever you can.
Yeah, right.
And it's football's no different than anything else.
Yeah.
The importance of it's like even golf now with Live. Look, I don't blame those guys for taking that money. Hell, it's life changing for your great grandchildren. But the tradition of sporting events with this generation of people we have now, it's just the appreciation's been lost.
Yeah, it's scary and it's sad.
Oh yeah,
it's well said though, and I don't know how they're going to fix it. I just don't. And Nick Saban warned us about this as a possibility when they started doing the expanded college football playoff. But I don't think anyone could have seen this whole opt-out culture, which was started by Christian McCaffrey. You know.
Yeah, I still remember finding that out, and I was like, "What in the hell?" I was like, "I guess it's a good idea, but for him, but."
Yeah, but
that was prior to this. Now, now it's just become such a zoo.
Well, it's like guys opt out and they're not even that good. Guys
that might get picked in the 5th round. It's like, what are we doing here?
Right. Well, what are you there for? Are you there because you love the game, or are you there because it's a business venture? And
what does that say about the kind of guy you are?
Yeah, I know.
It's almost like I don't know. To me, anytime you do anything, and I don't really care about the manner in which you do it, it's the effort that
you unplugged. Just kind of pull there you go. There you go. You're back. Yeah.
All right. Where were we?
You were right on the character, kind of character you have.
Well, no, whenever I was trying to play or do anything, it's not really about the manner in which you do things. It's people make mistakes. People sometimes do things the wrong way, say the wrong things. But if you've got a lot of effort and pride in what you do, and everything you do is a reflection of your family to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, to me, life's all about, is making, your family proud, everybody around you proud, and doing things the right way, trying to, at least. I can appreciate that.
Give it an effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, dude.
Opting out of bowls and not fulfilling the promise you made to the coach that signed you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can bitch and moan about not playing, not getting the opportunity. I mean, at the end of the day, that's you. That's your fault. I mean, to a certain degree, you didn't prove without a shadow of a doubt that you were better than the guy next to you. But at the end of the day, that coach at that school gave you an opportunity, gave you a scholarship, a free education, and you owe it to that guy to show up for work.
Right.
I don't know. It's just kind of quitting right before the finish line to me.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. And missing out on an opportunity of a lifetime. It's like
it's not about you.
Yeah. That's a good point.
It's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about what you agreed to take part in.
That's right. It's about them. It's about the group.
Yeah. And the people that gave you an opportunity.
Yeah.
Your teammates that allowed for you to be in that position.
Yeah. And we're going to, I swear we're going to get into the guys that are leaving Alabama, but you just reminded me of why I have so much admiration for Japanese baseball. Being in baseball, and you see the culture that the Japanese have for playing team baseball. They're so into the team and doing things the right way and honor and respect. And you watch the game and it's played that way, the way they take so much pride in the different levels, not just Major League Baseball, their version of Major League Baseball or the minors. I'm talking about even in high school, like playing on your high school baseball team is an enormous honor. If you're on the high school baseball team, you have to ride your bike to school every day. Just telling you, like when you see all the free agents that are out there, and I'm thinking, like, no wonder the Dodgers went out and spent $700 million for Ohtani, not just the international brand that he brings to the Dodgers, but also the culture too, and then they go out and they sign Yamamoto for $200 million, but you get that culture with those guys, like the respect culture, the culture of, like, we're going to work hard. Like, once we're in, we're all in, and we're all in together.
Oh yeah. And
we're losing that in college football. It's like, hey, if half the team, half of Florida State's team walked out.
These kids are ruining high school. They're told how good they are.
Yeah.
They're told, that you can do no wrong, and you're 18 and you believe that. And when kids, and then once these kids get out of football and they realize that you are and you always were just a normal guy, and you're gonna have to work hard just like everybody else to be successful. It's kind of a culture shock.
Yeah. So Alabama, Dallas Turner declared for the draft right after the game. He was pretty frustrated. He kind of made, like a comment about, hey, I just do what they tell me to do, kind of thing. Like, he probably wanted to rush the passer a little bit more, but he had to drop back into pass coverage because of his position. And that's my thought on that. But I loved watching him play. He's leaving. Kool-Aid McKinstry and Terrion Arnold and Chris Braswell all leaving. So it's a lot of guys on defense.
Well, we'll be all right. I mean, again, there'll be another Dallas Turner, another Braswell,
which is crazy. But you're right.
Yep. You just got to hope again. You got to hope that the mental capacity and the leadership is there for the guys that replace him.
Yeah,
because there will be talented guys that are there'll be guys that are just as talented. Or there'll be, one or two that are that talented. But again, to me, it's the talent's great, and Coach Saban's always going to have that. But again, it's the leadership that takes you from. He's going to get you there. You're going to be playoff eligible, but if you're going to win the national championship, you got to have those leaders. And it's like I was saying the other day. I mean, you got to have that group of guys, the group of guys that are a little bit not dirty, but they're pretty edgy.
Right.
As we've talked about, Ryan's brought up before.
Yeah.
Don't even help a guy up when he's down.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You got to have the guys that are pretty vocal, that got their heads on straight, and then your guys that just keep it in between the lines, play hard, don't say much.
Yeah, right. When you were there 2014 at Alabama, what was it like after the loss and the guys that declared early for the draft? Do you remember any of those guys and kind of what you were thinking at that point?
I mean, I don't really remember. I can't remember who all did declare early. I know Amari was leaving, but that was known, that was known before the season started. That was going to be his last year.
Right.
And I'm trying to think of guys that left early that people were shocked by, and I don't think there was any that we were really, and yeah, I don't think there were any shocking departures.
No.
And again, I don't think really at Alabama you had many. I know Jalen Armour-Davis left a few years ago. That was one that was pretty shocking, I felt like.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's still on an NFL roster. I think he could have gone higher in the draft if he had stayed. But
yeah,
he's a St. Paul's alum too.
Right. I wish receiver Slade Bolden, I wish he would have stayed for one more year.
Yeah, that was one.
I really it was a bad decision, but I really like him too.
Yeah, he's a great. I've only met him once, so I can't really say if he's a great guy or not. He seems to be a great guy, but after that national championship in Miami, I was just walking by him and we kind of made eye contact, had a good conversation, and he seemed like a great guy.
Yeah, he was on the next round, like he was there.
Was he?
Liked him. Yeah, seemed like a nice guy. And I would think that, with NIL, he would have done fine. But then maybe he'd have
done great.
Yeah, right. NIL. I mean, he was great. I mean, and he would have been like the one of the main wide receivers you threw to.
The thing about the NIL for guys that like him, that again, I'm not sure if he's on an NFL team now.
I don't think so.
Practice squad.
Yeah.
I mean, with the NIL, with that kind of marketing, that kind of marketing push, and your name and face gets out there, I mean, it leads to so many other opportunities for these guys that don't make it, and to do well after football gives them so many more leads. But
yeah,
and he would have been one of those guys that would have been just absolutely perfect for that.
Like practice squad, Ravens 02, Falcons 03, free agent right now though, I think. So I don't know, but yeah, he would have been. It'd have been nice to have him back that year.
And you could tell he was a leader out there too.
Oh yeah, yeah,
really mentally tough kind of guy. I think he was a walk-on at first.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have anybody that could catch.
Said it over and over again. A guy that's a walk-on that gets a scholarship is a special person.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be a mentally tough, dedicated guy to go from a walk-on to a scholarship guy.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if he was. I can't remember, but you're right. I mean, it's a long shot.
Yeah. I mean, we had Parker Barano and Michael Nicewander.
Oh, yeah.
And they were two of the best guys on the team, just, unselfish, worked hard, loved Alabama. Nicewander's a coach now, but if I ever had a need for any kind of professional service from any of those guys, I'd be all over it.
You knew you could count them.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think he was like Mr. Football in Louisiana, right? West Monroe, Louisiana. Just looking it up right now. I'm friends with the Slaughters, Jake and Mike. They play his Jake's with the Cubs, and his dad Mike played for Louisiana Tech.
Yeah.
And
my father-in-law signed with Louisiana Tech out of high school.
Did he?
Played baseball. Yeah. Ended up at Alabama.
Well, he played. Jake's dad and uncle played football, and they were on the funny thing is
they played
football at La Tech,
but Jake's
with baseball. Yeah, he got drafted by the Cubs twice.
So he played football and baseball.
He was football and baseball in high school. Yeah, great family. I asked him about Duck Dynasty, and he hung out with them and stuff.
Yeah,
cool. I love that show, man.
I went through Monroe, and I went to that store one time, and I realized, I don't know, man, it gave off some fraudulent vibes. I don't know. We'll see.
It wasn't as big as it looked on the show.
No, it just was there was it was pretty urban right around there for Louisiana. So, they had the duck pond out there, and I was a big Duck Dynasty fan at Florida State. And then when I saw it, it was, it's like anything else. You become a big fan, then you see it in person. It's like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was.
We were talking about Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
And Chris Bryant is from Vegas, the baseball player. And I'm asking him because I think we both like the show.
Yeah.
He's like, it's nothing like the show. They don't even work there. And then I went in. So we're there in Vegas and go there, and it's like the size of the studio. There's nobody there. There's no Chumley here. Rick's not hanging out in this place.
Whoever's working there is like, hey, man, we got a Civil War cannon. You need to come over here. That's the only time they show up.
Yeah. So if we took your rings in there, we'd probably have to call ahead. But the same thing.
We put 40,000 on the show, man. We wouldn't give you $10 for these.
Yeah, right. It's so crazy. They have a bunch of Super Bowl rings in there too.
I'm sure.
Those are actually the material's real, but the crazy thing is that the value's the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, really, it's the, like we were talking about before, it's the value of what it's valued for. It's supply and demand.
Yeah.
Nobody's buying it because, this is white gold or these diamonds. I want the exact Super Bowl ring that these guys had, or championship ring.
Yeah. Yeah, a real one. Yeah, a real one's. I mean, a replica's not taking you anywhere.
So we've been on this topic a lot, but it's just funny, how this whole thing kind of unraveled. And Bama gets a SEC championship ring. So when you get these rings, you get the SEC championship, and then you get two rings, one for the college football playoff, right, and then one for the the AP national championship. Is that how this works? Did you get 3 from Florida State too?
I got 3 from Florida State. One was the conference championship, and then there was 2 national championship rings. Alabama was SEC, Cotton Bowl, and national championship.
Okay.
So
who do you think impact wise is going to hurt the most losing? Kool-Aid McKinstry, who basically took an entire side of the field away because.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
I mean, they didn't want to even throw anywhere near that guy. Was he on those guys so much that they were watching film and they're like, there just isn't any opening over there?
Well, I mean, as he's breaking on the ball as soon as the receiver does. It's just, when you can't even throw it early enough to beat him. If the timing is right for most routes, just about every route, then you don't have anything to worry about against the right coverage.
He's going to go to the NFL. They're going to throw on him. So then what?
They're going to try,
but he may crank it up. I'll tell you one thing he won't be doing: returning kicks. Won't be doing that. I'll tell you what, though, man, he's got one of the best nicknames ever.
Is Kool-Aid his nickname, or is that his real name?
No, his nickname. They said he had a really big grin when he was born, and he looked like the Kool-Aid man.
Well, I mean,
isn't that cool?
There was one guy. They have. I know Barstool has the best names in college football, and there was one guy named the Coldest Crawford. And I think that was his birth name, like his real name.
Oh, Dakotas.
Yeah.
What's let's go back to when we were kids. What are some of the best nicknames? We had a peanut. We had a pepper.
I think everybody's got a peanut.
Did you guys have a peanut too?
A water bug.
We didn't have a water bug.
A water bug. I think that might be a Southern thing.
Yeah. We had a Pookie. A Boomer.
I had a freshman football coach named Pookie.
Yeah, Boomer. Boomer and my town was a big dude, man. Like was like the fullback, running back dude.
I got a cousin named Boomer.
Do you?
Just had his first daughter. Yeah.
Nice.
Got a lot of nicknames I can't say.
Yeah, don't use those. One of the guys in my fraternity that was like our punter on the fraternity, the KA team, we called him the Irish Dion. His son signed the kick punt for Alabama.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that?
No.
Did I talk about that? Yeah. Green, Matt Green. And I forget what his son's name is, but he signed to be at Alabama punting. His brother Randall punted for Ole Miss. And it was just a different type of punt. No, the rec fields weren't made for those punts. You know what I'm saying? Like Randall transferred, and I want to say like he would punt, and they'd be like these punts. Like people, if you haven't seen a real punt, it's not like when you're kicking it around in high school. I'm talking about like the stuff that Burnup's doing. No wonder you can't catch it, man. When you think it's coming down, and it's not.
Oh, yeah.
Then you think it's coming down, and it's still not coming down. I mean, it's knuckling.
You know, you got to, a punt's it's just up one way and then spins back around this way. I mean, again, I'd never want to do it. Had one teammate in high school we called Fatback because he had no ass. Went straight. I mean, when his back ended, his legs started.
Yeah. How about I'll tell you what, man. If we've talked about Fluffopotamus on here before.
Oh yeah.
Met that guy. And he's like, hey, Bob shakes my hand. And he's like, he says his real name. And then he goes, but everybody calls me Fluffopotamus. And I thought, I love this guy. You know what I mean? Like, just won me over with his nickname. That's him. Like, I had to hang out with him all the time. Like, if he was at the cigar place, R&R over in Tuscaloosa, I just.
You gotta love a guy who just embraces it all.
Yeah, right.
And is just.
But that's what we love here. Yeah,
yeah,
right. Man, I'm a heavy set guy with a big like a fluffy dude. I'm Fluffopotamus. They're like, I love this guy. You can change you can basically change the way that people look at you by basically being a little bit self-deprecating. He was a funny guy, really smart, great Alabama basketball fan. Got to be good friends with him. And sadly, yeah,
that was one of the most
emotional
Alabama losses I can remember. And I didn't even know him, but you'd see him on TV, you'd see him all over the place, and I don't know, anybody that influential, just kind of like keeps morale that high.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty special.
Well, loved basketball. He would always try to convince me. It took me a minute to realize that Nate Oates was the real deal, because every time Bama gets a basketball coach, we got the real deal coming. Hey, we just hired Anthony Grant, and this guy was part of Florida's dynasty. He can recruit. He's the real deal.
Oh, yeah.
Gets there, clown, man, clown. Like I filled in for Chris Stewart, and he's the worst guy I've ever been around in professional sports. He was just hard to deal with. He was rude and mean and just awful.
Anthony Grant?
Yes, awful.
Jeez.
Awful. He wouldn't let you come in and eat with the team. You'd have to stand outside while they were eating. All the other coaches, you just come in. You're part of the crew.
Yeah.
And then you get out there, and then he doesn't want to answer any questions. Yeah. Like you did something to him. And then he gives you smart ass remarks, and awful, man. It was terrible. And then everybody around there was like, yeah, we didn't want to say anything, but look, I'll show you a picture. Got one right here.
Yeah, you got that one, a pretty hard place to see.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, take a look at it. But see, I got to do the Maryland Alabama game. So I transferred from Maryland. So it was like cool, man. Like, but yeah, he wasn't very nice. And he wasn't any good. And then we get
that picture. Yeah, you got that in a pretty
one of them fell on my head today when I was working on the full disclosure. There's like a lip up there. So then we get
wish there'd have been a microphone in here when that happened.
No, man. It was terrible. I'm just glad that my neon sign didn't fall. So then we got him. He stunk. Then we got Avery Johnson, who I liked Avery Johnson.
Yeah, I like Avery Johnson.
And so I was kind of like, man, I was telling Fluff.
I hated to see him go.
Yeah, me too.
I get it. It's part of the business, but he came up to me after the Cotton Bowl and was that's where I met him. He just so nice, and
yeah.
I mean, he's probably done that a million times, but it just people who come up to you that don't really need to do that. It means a lot. Like Roman Harper has done that. I love Roman. Got to know him over the last few years. Just guys that kind of go out of their way to talk to you and say hello and just tell you what they think. Or
just be nice.
Oh yeah.
How hard is it to be nice to somebody?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I'm in Puerto Rico filling in for Chris Stewart there, and we're playing Maryland. Johnny Holiday, who's their play-by-play guy, is to me like the top of the mountain when it comes to basketball play-by-play. I mean, and I'm on the other side. He's a couple rows down from me.
Yeah,
I've been listening to this guy my whole life. So instead of me being out with Brian Pasick, hanging out at the pool, I'm in there waiting on Anthony Grant. He can't even tell me what time he wants to do his interview. And then he's mean to me on top of it. So in Avery Johnson, he was such a nice guy. Like you said, he's just a genuinely nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
So then Fluff's telling me that we're getting Nate Oates. And I'm like, look, man, I like Avery Johnson. Like, let's, what do we expect here? This isn't a basketball school. Well, I was wrong. Okay. Anthony Grant came in telling me, and I'm sorry, Nate Oates comes in, and I'm telling you, man, the guy's he's special.
I mean, since day one, it was
special.
Now, Avery Johnson did a great job building that team.
He did.
I think he was a hell of a recruiter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, he couldn't take that team where Nate Oates is taking them.
No. Well, it's Nate Oates is. I mean, when he leaves here, he's
Quinshawn Judkins is entering the transfer portal.
Yeah. So somebody was messaging me that. We'll talk about that here in a second.
What in the world?
Because I'm telling you, like, he's probably seeing all this money that they're spending on all these other guys and going, you know what?
Yeah, I've been here doing this for 2 years.
Yeah, and or Auburn's in his ear with some cash.
My gosh.
Yeah, that'd be
that's a huge blow right there.
I wonder where he goes. But yeah, Nate Oates, great team, man. Like great. He's won 2 SEC championships.
Yeah.
We never even got sniffed one since 2002.
Yeah, won back-to-back, right?
Yeah.
Am I right about that?
Yeah. I think there was a gap in between. Okay. We won, Auburn won, and so let's talk transfer portal and Judkins possibly transferring from Ole Miss. Do you think he's seeing all the money? Because they're killing it right now in the portal, which means that they're spending their NIL money on transfers.
I think all these NIL deals are a little bit inflated just to try to get more money. But, I mean, gosh, he's the guy at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I mean, Jackson Dart, he's the quarterback, but
he's an Alabama guy too.
But Judkins is the one that everybody knows about in Ole Miss, at least if you follow football.
Yeah.
Geez, I wonder if he's coming to Alabama.
Well, or Auburn.
He's a Montgomery guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's an Auburn town.
Yep.
I don't know, man. That's pretty wild. He's going to come back to Alabama or Auburn, I would think, though.
I would think that they're going to be in the mix for it.
That's where the most money is going to be, I would think.
Yeah.
Unless you want to go to Texas
Yeah.
or A&M.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy because they've had so much success. Ole Miss, like they had a great season. They don't have Alabama on the schedule next year.
Well, everything's looking up at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they'll have another 10-win season, but man, it's going to be tough this next year. I don't know what their schedule looks like, but this next year is going to be a gauntlet for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to give us lots of stuff to talk about, though.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
I love the super again with the, like we've talked about earlier in this podcast, with the lack of focus or just the appreciation for college football anymore. You have to play big games just about every week in order to keep people's focus and interest. So I can't wait. But again, at the same time, last few years, it is kind of annoying when your team's playing average competition in comparison to real SEC football. So I can't wait for it. I want to see these big time games week after week. And then you really find out who the pretenders are.
Yeah, that's right. Furman, Middle Tennessee, Wake Forest, Georgia Southern, Kentucky, South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Georgia at home, Florida, Mississippi State. So, I mean, you know what? That's the beginning of the schedule. Soft.
Week 4, whenever Kentucky starts, man, they got to – which, that's a problem. You play those all your easier games in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And then you start getting guys hurt week 6, week 8. You start guys just start dropping. Man, it's I'd rather spread those games out.
Yeah, right.
That's going to be tough. I mean, week in, week out, you got Oklahoma, Florida, and I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if Florida's 6-6.
Still a tough game.
That's a tough game. A lot of talent over there.
Yep.
That's that's again, a lot of people don't realize team may be 6-6, but that week they show up, man, they're dangerous. Oof. Yeah, that's going to be a tough schedule.
When one of the things that's happening right now is that Alabama is going through and having meetings with the different players, right?
Yeah.
And you had to have gone through this, right? At the end of the season, you get together, they let you know like kind of where you stand.
Yeah.
What's that experience like? And what do they call those?
I think year-end meetings, if I had to guess.
But did you do that like at the end of the year? Like,
yeah, you got to meet with Coach Saban and talk. But
how long did it last?
I don't think it lasted very long.
Well, because you weren't a person he was letting walk away.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go anywhere. I mean, I think it depends on the guy.
There's some guys where he was like, "Hey, you probably need to."
Well, for me, I didn't really care. Like, I mean, I was staying in Alabama. Whatever you tell me doesn't matter. I'm here. I'm going to practice and play and do whatever I need to do to start. Right. So,
yeah.
I mean, you could say I was last on the depth chart, and I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, let's do this. Yeah. But some guys that would probably like, you're a great guy, but we need your scholarship.
I mean, I know there's some guy. I mean, there's, again, at every school, I witnessed at Florida State, witnessed at Alabama. I don't know what the meetings are like for guys that can't lose weight or, it's like guys that the biggest issue is, hey, get to this weight and we'll start. When you get serious, we'll get serious about playing you.
Yeah. And
guys that aren't even willing to lose weight, it's like, man, what are we doing here?
Yeah, right.
We're just wasting everybody's time.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even think about that being part of it. But I mean, some of these guys show up and they just can't play.
Oh, yeah. Well, some of them get there and it's
just too fast.
Again, they expect to show up and just play because they are who they are and they believe everything that was told.
But they're not good enough is what I mean.
Oh, yeah. No, but what I'm saying is they believe what they've been told during the recruiting process.
Right. Yeah,
they're going to be a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
And you forget about all the work that's got to go into the 3, 4, 5 years that you're going to be there in order to achieve that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've seen it so many times where guys just show up and they're like half-ass workouts, half-ass 7-on-7, and just expect, well, this is what you told me when I was getting recruited. You know, you're lying to me. Well, no, we never lied to you. You just didn't do shit to help yourself out.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
It's personal accountability. It's the same thing where I've heard these stories about these guys looking for NIL deals after year one, and they don't even show up. They show up late to workouts. They don't do what they're told, and a program that's just hungry to look good, taking a 4-star away that Alabama really doesn't care if they lose,
right,
because they've seen what kind of performance they're getting, what kind of work ethic they're getting, and they just gain another scholarship.
Yeah, right.
You know, again, I'd take a 2-star guy that just shows up on time, does what he's supposed to do, does more, you know, brings the team together through his actions than I would a guy that is all world but just doesn't show up and act like he cares about the process.
Right.
So,
yeah. That's it.
You get me worked up over here.
Yeah, well, I mean, but I hear you though. Like what you're saying basically is that this time of year, this is what's part of the job.
Yeah. And I don't think there's any kicking off the team. And I think I've seen a lot of guys. A lot of times it takes 3 years for guys to really realize what it takes. I mean, sometimes it's just it takes a few years. You don't really realize, you know, how soft you are until you put in the time, put in the effort, and you realize how fun it is to actually be a participating member of the team.
Yeah, right.
Know, and be an asset to the team rather than a detriment.
Did you, as a leader on the team, have to kind of say to people like, look, we need you to step up? Because I know that the best teams are the teams that the coaches aren't the ones that are saying stuff like that. It's a different come when it comes from your teammate than it is from your coach. You understand what I mean by that?
No, that's what I've been saying. The difference between a team that makes it to the SEC championship at Alabama and a team that wins the national championship at Alabama are the teams that are policed by their own players.
Yeah. So how's that?
I mean, again, you could have, I don't care. Coach Saban's going to bring in the talent. And with that talent alone, if you've got a bunch of a lot of bad morale and bad leaders, he's going to get you to the SEC championship. I mean, most likely. And then from then on, if you don't win the national championship, you don't win in the first round, most likely it's a team problem.
Right.
Because, and again, I'm pretty heavily in favor of Coach Saban, obviously. I think a lot of them think he's the best that's ever done it.
We all do.
I mean,
I was even going to make a joke, but you can't.
The numbers don't lie, you know. I mean,
no, man, he's he is literally the GOAT.
Yeah, and so at some point, you know, a guy that's proven himself time and time again, high character coach, honest and transparent. Can't ask for more from a guy like that. At some point, you got to kind of look in the mirror and say, "All right, this is probably my fault."
Did you? How do you guys do it? Like as teammates, like if somebody's not doing their thing.
It depends. I mean, it's like our 2015-16 team. You know, I've seen a lot of guys get their ass whipped. I mean, it's almost, you know, the guy. It's like
that's one way of doing it.
Yeah. It's like you know, if you've seen Game of Thrones, it's like the girl that has to walk through the whole town naked. You know, I mean, it's like you're shunned and you're embarrassed.
Shame. Oh my goodness.
But it's a brutal. I mean, it's just it can be a brutal atmosphere if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And that's how when you, as a coach, you don't have to weed out the guys that don't want to be there. I mean, it lessens the load for you.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
And it's like he always says, guys with high standards don't want to be around mediocre.
Oh, I love that quote.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want to be around mediocre people, and that's true. When you have a team with a lot of leaders that have high standards, the mediocre performer, not the mediocre performers, but the mediocre effort guys, they just don't fit in, and they end up not working out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, man. One of the best quotes that he ever gave.
Yeah, when I say that there are guys that work their ass off and are great teammates. Mo Smith went to Georgia his senior year. He was a great teammate. I loved him, loved having him on the team, loved him being a part of our team. And he just, Georgia was a better fit for him.
Right.
And that's part of it sometimes. I'm not saying every guy that transfers is not a high character guy. Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Well, I mean, look, you transferred, but you also did your time. You were also a grad student. Like you it was time. Like you did the experience. You gave them what you promised. A lot of these guys go in, it's like a year in, and they're like, you know what, man, if I transfer, I'm going to make some more money.
Yeah.
And there's a difference, like I with Mo Smith, everyone wanted him to stay because we knew he was good.
Yeah.
And we needed him.
And he was a really good player. He was a great guy, and he was an asset to the program.
It's just so that the whole,
even if he wasn't playing, he was an asset to the program.
Yeah, right. Everyone knew it. It's just so the whole the whole transfer thing's just so different, man. Like,
and it's hard for these kids, man. They're 18 to 22. I mean, geez, I think about how much of a dumbass I was, and I don't claim to have all the answers or anything like that. I got a long way to go, that's for sure. But just the way I reacted to certain things when I was 20 was so much different than I react to things now,
Yeah.
And hopefully when I'm 40, it'll be the same way. But just kids are pulled in so many different directions. You haven't had enough life experience to really realize what's in front of you. Sometimes you don't realize if you're selfish or not.
Yeah, right.
It's tough on these kids, and a lot of these parents have never been through this either, so they don't really know the answers either, but they sometimes push their kids in the wrong direction, and they don't realize what they're doing.
Yeah, it's true. I wonder if they're ever going to be able to figure this out, because there's no rules right now, and it's hurting everyone not having any kind of rules.
They just gotten too crazy with it. Yeah, I
think they're afraid they're going to get sued.
That's exactly what it is.
I mean, like
what they've come to realize is what they've been doing for years. The NCAA is an awful organization.
Yeah,
those people are. If there should be a committee that makes no money but has a very genuine care for kids that are in that position, and they want what's best for those kids and the coaches. They have an understanding of what the process is like, and they set the rules hearing both sides without having any financial incentive involved. But again, that's kind of not the way the world works. So I doubt that'll ever happen.
Yeah, not now. So it'll be interesting. I just don't think that there's going to be any of these. Who's the guy, that linebacker that transferred to Arkansas? And
I know exactly who you're talking about. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Yeah, and he was one where everyone
from Alabama to Arkansas.
Yeah. Like, where is this guy leaving for?
Yeah.
I just don't think there's going to be. I think this team's like ready to win. Like, I think that the experience that they had together this year, that they're a tight knit group, and I think that they're going to stick together and want to win it next year.
Yeah, the loss, honestly, might have been good for him.
I want to say it was like Shane Lee or something, but that's not right.
No, Dylan Lee was. I think you're.
I'm probably close, but not close.
I think you're thinking of white linebackers at Alabama. You're just remembering like a few names and throwing them together.
Yeah. Very thin group these days. Any guesses while I'm looking this up?
I want to say Tyler something.
Tyler something.
Tyler sounds good at least.
It does. What year was that? 2021. Still looking here. Because I know Saban wanted him to stay. And then last year, I think the receiver that transferred to LSU he kind of said there was one guy who wanted to stay.
And he said you'd be playing here right now.
Yeah. But I knew that when that was my guess when he was like, oh, are you ready? I figured it out. What did I say? I said Shane Lee.
Yeah.
And you said Tyler.
Well, Drew.
Yes.
Drew something.
You're close.
It's not Davis, is it?
No.
I don't know. You tell me.
Drew Sanders.
I knew it.
Yeah. Shows you where we are.
Golly,
I know.
Can't believe it.
I could see it.
Yeah, he was a good player.
Yeah,
man.
He was
strong, physical.
Yeah,
he's one that I hated to see go too.
Yeah,
I
did too. All right, as we start to wrap things up, another good episode of Elephant in the Room. We thought we were going to have Ryan here, but we're going to try to get him next week.
Yeah. I have to work on that.
He blames you.
He said time. Monday. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you got the young kids, like, recording at 5 o'clock or after work hours is,
Yeah, I basically got to hurry up and, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
4:30.
Which four, we did like 5 today.
Yeah. We'll make it work.
Yeah, we'll make it work. Yeah, I can't wait to hear what he has to say about this, all this stuff going on. It all goes back to me that no matter how disappointed I am and how close I think that team was, is that I keep reminding myself that I have to appreciate what Nick Saban did this year.
Oh, man. Well,
you know what I mean?
You think about in 6-7 years, man, this will never happen again.
I know.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. It'll never happen. You'll never have I don't think there will ever be a coach like him again.
No.
I'm sure they said the same thing about Bear Bryant, but I really don't see anybody being this focused and in love with what they do. And just pulling people in and keeping a staff around that's that dedicated to the players and the organization in which they represent.
Yeah.
Don't think you'll ever find another guy like that.
Mm-mm. And willing to adapt. I'll tell you this, like when he left or when he does leave, I was like, I'd love to see Dabo. I mean, just because, Dabo played at Alabama and he's had success, but he refuses to adapt to the way that the college football is now.
Oh yeah.
And it's hurting him and it's hurting his program.
I love Dabo, but again, the caller that called in and
Tyler?
Tyler wasn't all wrong.
No. It's why it stung.
Yeah.
The ones that hurt are the ones that there's some truth in there.
Well, the problem with Dabo and I appreciate where he comes from and his mindset is sometimes in this business, I think you got to be a little cutthroat, and he doesn't have that in him.
Yeah.
And he's not willing to let go of people that he loves and appreciates in order to do that, which I think you either got to pick a side there. Mm-hmm. I'm more so on his side than I am the other side.
Yeah, right.
I can't imagine getting rid of guys that I love, appreciate, and other families. That would be very, very hard for me to do. So I'm probably not the best fit for a college coach, but you got to appreciate where he's coming from with all that.
Yeah. I'm with you. Predictions. By the time we talk,
I'm taking Washington. I'm tired of going against them. I'm tired of getting proven wrong.
Really?
So I think I'm going to Washington. Yeah. I know you're a Michigan guy, but
there's a 74% chance that they're going to win.
Well, yeah. You bet on Michigan too against Alabama, right?
Hell no. Look, the only reason that I'm in this, the only reason that if Michigan wins, I'm going to win is because I took Alabama to beat Michigan. And you have to put like what you think, like, how confident you are, right?
Yeah.
Well, I thought that the Michigan game was going to be tough, but we'd win. So it was like somewhere in the middle, right? Confidence. The national championship, I'm very confident because I thought Bama's going to either beat Texas in a rematch or they're going to blow out Washington.
Yeah.
So that's why I have all these points left because that's what I was kind of thinking.
I got you. Well, I'm going with Washington on principle.
Yeah.
And
it's going to take them. They're going to have, man, they're going to have to throw the ball on that Michigan defense.
Yeah, it's going to be weird if Washington wins the national championship.
I know.
Well,
Bama tried to get their offensive coordinator, remember? Grubb.
Yeah.
And it looked like they were going to, and the guy's like, nah, I'm staying here.
Yeah.
And now it really looked like he was coming.
Yeah.
People have kind of ganged up on Tommy Rees.
I thought he did a hell of a job.
Me too, man. Leave him alone.
He did a hell of a job.
I'm with him too, man. You can't go out there and snap the ball, that's not his job. His job's to call plays. And when those guys were executing, they were playing good football.
And I don't think Seth McLaughlin is a bad player at all. I just think, the quarterback center exchange, that's literally the most important component of football. You cannot have a play without a quarterback center exchange.
Yeah.
Nothing can be done without it. And I don't care how good you are at blocking a guy. I don't care how good you are at setting the protection, setting the scheme, knowing where everybody's going to be. If you cannot do that, then it's very hard to play center.
Well,
and
you remember last year there was issues there too. And Bryce Young made up for him. I mean, it wasn't perfect last year.
Yeah.
Now you got a guy that's, a lot younger and a different type of guy.
Yeah.
The thing about Bryce Young.
He's still trying to figure out how to manage being a leader.
Yeah, right. And trying to think about what he's going to do with the
whether
ball.
He's going to be mad at this guy, talk him up.
Yeah.
Try to figure out how to make this right. Again, that's why we were talking the other day. Just Coach Saban doesn't get mad at him. It's how do you get mad at a guy when that's not really a try hard thing. It's not really a get it right. You're in the playoff. At this point, it's too late.
Right.
Like you can't fix things anymore.
Yeah.
It's just a tough spot to be in.
Yeah. Well, I wish him the best as he transfers out.
Yeah. Wish he was staying.
Do
I
you?
hate to see it. Yeah, I do. I think he'd be a lot happier and better off if he stayed and fought it out.
And really like put the time in with Milroe and figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
But what if he just is like a guy that like gets the yips or something, like baseball? Like there's guys that just, this is, Chuck Knobloch, really good baseball player. Then you hit a ground ball to him and he throws it in the stands once in a while,
Yeah. Yeah.
From second base.
That's a real thing.
It is.
It's a real thing for sure.
That's why Rick Ankiel, who played baseball, you remember
I've
him?
seen that story.
Well, he was smoky. And he, before my time, was obviously a pitcher and then got the yips, couldn't throw the ball, and came back as
center fielder or right fielder.
Yeah, an outfielder. And that is amazing.
Yeah. I'll
amazing.
Never forget that story.
Yeah. I mean, he was always a pretty good hitting pitcher, but, to actually like make it all the way back and be a good contributor.
To lose that identity you've had growing up, having that confidence, and then all of a sudden just some mental block you can't get over it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge blow to the ego or the whatever you want to call it. I mean, I can't even imagine losing your identity like that.
Yeah, really. Well, I'm sure that.
I know it sounds kind of soft.
No. I'm with you, man. I mean, like, it's like when people see you as something, and then all of a sudden now they see you as just a regular person.
Oh, yeah.
That's got to be tough to deal with.
Is another one of those deals. I got a great joke, man.
Was it going to be directed at me again?
Kind of.
I sat up after the last show, and I was like, I wonder what shit he was going to say about it. I guess I don't really have to worry about that. Well, thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
Thanks.
this one I'll remember, though.
I'm becoming the punching bag. Well, good show, man. Have a great weekend, and let's get back together next week.
Yeah, sounds good.
Ready to go. All right, guys. A couple things. I want to remind you that the show is always presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. 110% price match when you use the promo code next round, and you got to use it now because that's not going to last forever. But college football national championship game coming up on Monday. You got the NFL playoffs almost here. You got the NBA. You got the NHL. Anything that you want to get into, mybookie.ag. And if you need some help with the picks, Lance's Lock and lanceslock.com, a winning bowl season for Lance Taylor. He says he's leaning towards Washington in this championship game.
I imagine the public's all over Michigan.
Yeah, they are, but I am too. I just it's harder to game plan with in a week than it is a month. And Michigan just, I don't know, man. You know what?
It's like the regular season.
Michigan, Michigan's in uncharted water, but so is Washington.
Yeah.
You know, it's, who knows? Anyway, Lance, go trust Lance. Don't trust me. Trust Lance. Go check him out, lanceslock.com. And always great hanging out with you guys. Make sure that you like and follow Elephant in the Room, Roll Tide Pods, part of Disrupt the Media. And it is always a pleasure to hang out with you guys here. So roll tide, everybody.